Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.wordpress.com, and today I'm coming to you with a gatefold easel card. So as you can see, you start off with what you think is a standard gatefold card, open it up, and then you've got an easel as well and a space there for you to write your greeting or your sentiment. So we're going to make this card today, and I've actually done it in a slightly different colourway. This one uses Cajun Craze, so I thought I'd mix them a bit and use some garden green on the other one to coordinate, whereas this one picks up the Cajun Craze of the pots, the other one will pick up the garden green of the trees. And this is using the lovely vertical greetings stamp set, and as you can see here, you've got lots of different sentiments, from thank you to just because, for you, congrats. So you could make this for any occasion at all, and in fact you could actually make it up and have it almost ready, apart from just doing your last sentiment one. So that's the card we're going to make. I'm going to do the dimensions in inches, and I will work it out in centimetres. This is based on US size paper, but obviously you can do this from 12 by 12 card as well. So you're going to need a piece of card that is 8.5 by 11 inches, and to start off with, you're going to score the long edge, moving our cutter out of the way, at 5.5 and at 8.25. Then turn it to portrait, and you're going to then cut at 2.25 inches down from the top to the middle score line, and you're also going to do the same at 6.25 inches. And once you've done that, just take your paper snips and cut along that score line to cut those panels away. And same again on the other side. Then turn your card so that the larger section is now at the top, and you're going to score at 2 1/8, at 2 1/4, at 6 3/8, and this is a bit of a tricky one. But what you can do is line it up with the cut mark there, and at 6.5. And I find it's easiest just to line that up with the, you just see it here, the grey edge. So take our score tool, put it to one side, and this now makes our basic card base. So instead of throwing your tools on the floor, what you need to do is just fold and gently burnish each of those score lines. And this is the important one to burnish really well, because that's our easel fold. And the reason we've done that extra fold on the side is because there's quite a lot of depth in there with the easel. So there we go. You'll find that that just folds and meets in the middle there, like so. Okay, so that's our card base. Now we need to do our layers, and you'll see here I've got a layer of garden green, and that one is 4 by 5.5 inches, and then I've got a smaller layer of Whisper White, which is 5 by 1 5/8 inches. And so now what we're going to do is a couple of techniques using our markers. So if you come in and colour the trees, or the foliage parts I should say, and I'm using Wild Wasabi here, and then this is a thumping technique which I saw recently, where you just come in with a darker colour and just sort of speckle over that, and that gives it just a bit more variation on the foliage. And because these are horizontal lines on the pot, I'm just going to go horizontally, and that's with Cajun Craze. And then just come in with early espresso or another brown marker and just colour in those stems. And obviously that's been coloured for a few moments now, so just huff which is breathe over that. And then I've generally lined it up in the middle there and just stamp. And there we've got our tree, and you can see some variation in the foliage. Then repeat that technique using our second topiary tree. And so you could really do, you know, all sorts of combinations on this, depending on what markers you happen to have to hand. Again, huff, and just try and line up those pots on the bottom there, and then just repeat again. So again, we're just colouring in there. Actually, what I didn't do is do the thumping on that one. So just do that on this one, so just dot it over. And then all I've done then is, because the images on themselves are obviously sort of look a little bit odd up in mid-air, so I'm just going to use a little bit of our smoky slate and just come in with the water aqua painter and just ground those slightly. Okay, so it just makes it look as if they're just stood on. There we go. So that's our central panel. I've then repeated that for the other panels, but I'll show you how to make this panel on the left here. So it's the same idea. You're going to be colouring your stamp, and I've used rose red for the top here, just as a little bit of fun. And on your panel, what I've done here is, because I've used this stamp already, I'm just putting a post-it note across the lower part. That's just to make sure that if there's any ink left on my stamp, I'm not going to contaminate lower down. And then I just move it up slightly and ink up the bottom part of the pot. Apologies, I've forgot to take my bracelets off today. I will try and remember that before my next video. And there's our pot. And then you can just come in and colour the thank you. And actually on this second card, I decided to do the thank you in early espresso just to make it stand out a little bit more. And then just pop that in the middle there. So each of these pieces of card that I've stamped on, each of these panels were 5 by 1 5/8 an inch, and they're going to go onto a layer of garden green, which I've got here, which is 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. And so what I'm going to do is just very quickly use my snail and attach that to the front there. So as I said, same bit of grounding just on the bottom there, and then we've got our 4 panels all ready to go. And then it's a similar technique when we're making the stopper for our card. I've got a piece of garden green which is 4 by 1 1/4 inches, and I've got a piece of whisper white somewhere which is 1 inch by 4 inches. And again, all you need to do with that is just ink up the very top section of the stamp. So there's my panel, which I'm just going to trim down. So that one's 1 inch. That should be, looks a little bit narrow actually. Yes, I've cut that too narrow. That's only 1 inch wide. I need it to be 1 inch and 1/4. So I shall quickly cut one of those. So this is 4 inches wide, so just 1 1/4 inches. There we go. So with our heart, I'm just going to ink here, and again just to centralise that, just gives you a rough guide for a heart. And obviously if you wanted to, you could use the stopper as to put your sentiment on if you wanted, or you could use just use some decoration. You could perhaps put some ribbon across it. Any of those techniques would work equally as well. So again, just create our stopper, layer that up on the slightly wider piece, like so. So here's our, we're going to layer that up onto our card. Again, just use your snail, or you could use tear and tape. I tend to use snail on my videos because it's just quicker and I'm less likely to get in a mess. But I will use tear and tape to keep the background in place, just to give a firm hold. So make sure that you're going to put your tape just on the bottom section only, so don't come any further than halfway up. Just put an extra piece in the middle there. I always want to make sure that anything that's on a mechanism holds really firm. So we just take our tape off. And if I bring in my card base, the easiest way to get this to line up is to fold it flat and then line this up with the centre panel. Press down firmly, like so, and that's our easel. We just need some dimensionals on the back of the stopper, and that just gives it a little bit more lift so that our card stays in place. So again, round about halfway for that. So. And then each of these panels can just pop on the side. So what I decided to do was to have one of the trees on one side and the thank you panel on the opposite side, on the inside there. And then repeat that on the front. So pop our tree on the front there, and our panel on the opposite side. So there you have a gatefold easel card using the vertical garden stamp set and accompanying greetings. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you want any of the supplies, visit my Stampin' Up shop, which is at heidismith.stampinup.net, or go onto my blog and you'll find the links there to my shop, or drop me an email and I will be happy to help you. So there's our one in Garden Green, there's our one in Cajun Craze. I hope you like both of them and that you enjoy making one of these cards too. Bye for now.